Good morning, everybody. That was kind of a lackluster reply. Good morning, everybody. Better, good. I'll pass out some note cards here. Last week, you all had a visitor. Where were they from? Career Services. What'd y'all learn? Resume building. Okay. They talk about any of their other services that they offer? Good. So why is it that I had Career Services come and talk with you all? What do you think? That's part of it, absolutely. I mean, you all are preparing for your careers, whatever those things may be. Some of you will be thinking about when you're finished with your 4 years of college, going into the workforce. Career Services is going to play a significant role for you. There are career fairs that are held, I believe every semester, but certainly every year. And you're going to want to take advantage of those when you start looking for a job. Why else did I want you to go over to Career Services? Or have Career Services come over here? Excuse me, you didn't go over there.
Because we have to build a resume.
You're going to have to build a resume. That's right. So, one of the things that you need to know at this point about resume building is the professionalism of that resume. Unfortunately, many of you, when you're looking for a job, actually for all of us when we're looking for a job, the first contact that most employers have with you is your resume, not you as a person. And I find that unfortunate, but that's just the way that the world works. You go on monster.com, Indeed, whatever job site you're looking for, wherever you see a posting, they usually ask you to send in a resume, a cover letter, talk a little bit about yourself. So your written competencies in terms of how you present yourself are going to be important. It's going to say something about you. It needs to represent you, but it also needs to be a very professional document. And we'll talk more about that later. We will have a resume, an assignment that it will be coming due, probably more towards the end of October. But it's time for you to start thinking about that resume. So there's nothing wrong with you going ahead and starting to build that out. Why in the world are we going to have you put together a resume right now in your starting college careers? To build on it. That's exactly right. Here you go. Good morning. Yeah. To build on it. That's exactly right. And you're going to need it while you're in college. Some of you are going to maybe want to get an on-campus job. Guess what they're going to ask you for? Resume. You might be applying for a scholarship. Guess what they might ask you for? A resume. They might ask you for those types of things. What your resume looks like now will be different than what your resume looks like when you get to be my age. Okay? It will transition from a resume into a CV, a curriculum vitae. Okay? Which is essentially just a long resume in a lot of ways. It's a much more detailed type of resume. But nonetheless, a resume is a tool that you need now. How many of you already have a resume put together? Okay, good chunk of you. That's good. That's very good. Did you all learn any tips about maybe thinking about going back and changing some pieces? Okay, good. So it was a worthwhile effort. I was at a conference, and so when I'm away like that, it's good to have people like Career Services come in and offer some offer some training. So one of the things that you can do as one of your activities is you can go to Career Services. So if you're working on your resume right now and you want to go over to Career Services today or tomorrow, have them look it over and give you some critiques, just take that form with you, that activities form. They can sign off on it. You'll be good to go. Don't forget, When is the activities one due? Friday, that's right. So, and it's a good chunk of points, so don't forget about your activities assignment, please. There will be no late submissions for that, so keep that in mind. Let's talk a little bit about some of the reading assignments that I had put in Canvas. C and Ian talks with Faye Probert, NMR diagnostics researcher. I don't expect you to know much about what NMR is yet. But what's kind of unique about her particular career path?
She was in math.
Yeah, she started off in mathematics, didn't she? Didn't start off in chemistry. What else is unique about her career path a little bit? Y'all got the big one. What else do you think?
Combined disciplines,
She's combining disciplines. What disciplines is she combining?
biology, chemistry.
Biology, chemistry, yeah. Even a little bit of forensics if you think about it, right? Ways in which you can go in and discover things. What's important about the work that she does?
They help pre-diagnose like a cheaper way that they don't have to go to get all those extra MRI scans for like cancer and things like that.
All right, yeah, so very good. So health diagnostics, right? Ways in which we can detect things earlier. What is she? So she's combining her math, she's combining chemistry, this technique called NMR, which we don't have to really talk too much about. What else is she combining in there? She said something about machine learning, right? Machine learning or AI. We're starting to see these things come together. Imagine being able to go to the doctor and you've got, you know, as they described in here, you've got some symptoms that might suggest one disease, but, you know, not everything is there. Not everything is there yet. But I give them a drop of my blood or a little bit of urine or whatever the case may be, whatever bodily fluid they need, right? Place it into an NMR machine, just a drop or two of it. Apply these mathematical things to it. See whether or not there are some markers, biomarkers. Anybody know what a biomarker is?
Is it peaks?
Well, the NMR does give peaks. That's true. But I wouldn't say that peaks by themselves are biomarkers.
Is it kind of like a water signature?
It is kind of like a signature, not a water signature, but it is kind of like a signature. What would it be a signature of? Pardon?
Organic compounds.
Could be unique compounds.
Functional groups.
Could be functional groups, yeah. What else?
Disease.
Disease. Yeah, biomarker is a small molecule or a piece of a molecule that might be suggestive of a disease. Okay, and so that's kind of an important thing to be able to detect early on. You can usually detect biomarkers before symptoms start to appear. How important do you think that would be for some of these diseases? Right? It'd be very important. Think about pancreatic cancer as an example. She didn't talk about this, but by the time you have symptoms of pancreatic cancer, it's in its late stages. Pancreatic cancer has a very low survival rate. Very, very low survival rate. Okay? And it's because it can sit there and do its thing and metastasize and grow and do all the things that cancer does before you actually even start to feel bad. But if we had an annual checkup, right? We go in, and I'm speaking like I have annual checkups. I really don't. I should, right? We all should. But I could go in, manual, you know, they draw a vial of blood, and they could just take that, go do the NMR. We're seeing biosignatures for, or biomarkers for this or that disease. I would like to know that in advance before I have to undergo serious situations. Here you go. Okay. Does this kind of career speak to any of you? This kind of work? Any of you find it interesting? Yeah? Yeah. Do you find it interesting because it's chemistry? Do you find it's interesting because it's medicine? Do you find it's interesting because it's biology? Or do you find it's interesting because it encompasses everything? What do you think? Go ahead.
Oh, I think the reason why I find it interesting is the way it combines different, like different career, like courses and yeah.
Okay. All right. How about you?
Same.
Same? Okay. That's fair. Again, it's not a person in a white lab coat sitting in at a bench with test tubes. But yet, chemistry, very, very central to what they are doing. All right, I made a mistake here in the title. I said chemist. It's chemist. Chemist made up data in 4 NIH grant applications. Does anybody in here know what the NIH is? What's that stand for?
National Institute of Health.
National Institutes, multiple, of Health. That's right. It's part of the Department of Health and Human Services. It is one of the biggest funders of research in the United States, and along with the National Science Foundation. But as you can imagine, it's all health related, as its name would suggest, NIH. Okay. For those of you who are thinking about going on into a research career in chemistry or biochemistry or related field, you will be dealing with the NIH at some point. Okay. They give out a lot of money. I had NIH money several years ago. My colleagues have NIH money. And so they fund a lot of the research that's going on in health-related areas across the country. Okay, you heard a lot about the NIH during the COVID pandemic. Okay, who was the person you heard the most about at the NIH? Fauci. Yeah, Dr. Fauci was at the NIH. He was a director of one of the institutes. Right, had a long career. Really became popular during the AIDS crisis in the 80s. Started building his career there, got into infectious diseases and things that are transmissible, yada, yada, yada. So you heard a lot about Dr. Fauci, good or bad, during the whole COVID pandemic. You heard probably both sides. But certainly a central figure in recent health crises. Why did I want you to read this? Pardon? Integrity. Okay, very good. Anything else?
And see what happens if we break our integrity.
That's right. Yeah, so both of those, integrity and that there are consequences to things that we do, right? What was the consequence for this particular chemist? Now let's break that down. Go ahead, ask your question.
They have to have their research supervised for you.
Okay, so I was going to ask just that question. What was the NIH requiring them to do, right? It was to have their research monitored. Imagine you got your undergraduate degree in chemistry or biochemistry, you went to graduate school in chemistry or biochemistry, you went on and did a postdoc in chemistry or biochemistry, you're starting to build this long resume and all of these good things, and then you get a job. Your real job, right? You get your first real job. This person got it at the University of Alabama, Huntsville. Right? You think you're kind of a big shot, doing some important stuff, right? Why do you think they did this? To get grants. Getting ahead. That's right. This is where integrity really comes in, doesn't it? And it starts now. I can almost guarantee you that this individual cheated in school at some point or another, working their way back. Can't prove it, but I'm pretty darn sure that's the case. Okay? Integrity is not about doing the right thing when it's easy. It's about doing the right thing when it's hard. And when you're talking about your career at an institution, you know, one of my rules or requirements when I got my job here, they said you're going to start off as an assistant professor, and after 3 years you're going to go up for third year review, and we're going to make a decision about whether or not to continue your contract. And oh, by the way, for that to happen, you've got to be very productive in your research, you've got to do well in your teaching, and you got to do some service. Okay. And then 3 years after that, you're going to go up for tenure. And again, we're going to look at your research. We're going to see how many grants you've gotten, how many papers you've published, how many students you've worked with, how your teaching has progressed, and how you're doing in service. That's a high stakes game, right? I've got to get grants to get tenure. And tenure is nearly a guaranteed lifetime job, almost, right? So it's a big stakes. This person probably, I'm guessing, it doesn't say so much here, but I'm guessing had probably had several grant applications that were rejected, and they were probably looking down the barrel of tenure and thinking, I've got to do something to get tenure, and they were tempted then to kind of fudge the data. What happened to this individual ultimately?
They lost their job.
Okay, but it doesn't really say how they lost their job, does it? What do you think happened? Do you think that the person just said, well, mea culpa, I'm sorry, I'm leaving to save everybody the embarrassment? What do you think happened?
Discard.
They probably got fired. That's exactly right, because they were not tenured yet, right? We can let tenured faculty go at any, or untenured faculty go at any point. And so, what do you think this person's prospects of finding another job at a university are?
Very low.
Very, very low, right? Now, there's many different types of universities. There's R1 institutions like we are, which are research intensive. And then there are community colleges. There are 4-year institutions that don't really focus on research. Do you think those people are still going to want to hire this person?
I mean,
Maybe, but if I was on the search committee and I read this article and I knew that name, I'm going to take that and put that to the side. That's the thing about your integrity. Once you lose it, it's the one thing that you really can't get back. It will always stick with you no matter what you do to make it up. And that's just human nature, right? Oh, they cheated before. They lied. It's always going to be in the back of our mind, right? And so we talked about that article that I gave you called The Ethical Chemist, right? This does not fly in the face of that very well, does it? This person did not have the integrity that they should have had to be at an institution. So I can guarantee you that the University of Alabama, they were very polite and said, no longer employed here, but they didn't tell any details. But I can guarantee you the chair of that department, when this was discovered, told them, you're getting a terminal contract. And a terminal contract, even, maybe they've got 6 months left on their contract, they probably told them, we'll pay you your 6 months, but go ahead and leave. We don't even want you around here, right? These are big things. So the take-home message here is be of integrity, because that's going to be a huge, huge piece. And it starts today. And you're going to be tempted when you get into a class. You've got busy schedules. We all understand that. You got a homework assignment due. It's very, very tempting last minute to ask a friend, hey, what was the answer to the problem? But that's where your integrity starts, okay? Build that integrity. And I know you all have examples of people that don't have much integrity that made it in life very, very well. But I wouldn't say that they're role models to live by, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, we have got a new assignment that is going to be due next week. We are going to start working on our personalized semester by semester guides, okay? There are a lot of rules to these semester guides that we're going to talk about today, okay? And you have to follow these rules. And you might be saying, why so many rules? Well, chemistry is all about learning about rules and how to apply them to solve problems. So this is one of those exercises, okay? And you will have a document that you can take to your advising session with you, which typically start in October, that you'll be able to sit down with your advisor with and really have a good advisement session, in my opinion, okay? So we're going to start working on that today. The place that you are going to start is at the office of the registrar, and we're going to start with the bulletin. Okay, so how many people have ever been on this particular webpage? Okay, a few of you. It's easy to get to. It's usm.edu/registrar. What is a university registrar? What does that office do for you? They handle all of your education records, right? Your transcript comes from the registrar, okay? But they also have the bulletin, okay? This is the official document of the university. It is not a contract, but it is close to a contract as we have with you in terms of your education, okay? When you click on the bulletins, you're going to get into the academic bulletin, okay? You're going to see over to the left, it says 23-24 undergraduate bulletin, 23-24 graduate bulletin. You're obviously undergraduate students, you're going to go to this bulletin. Next year, if you need to access the bulletin, this won't be here anymore. It'll be the next year. So if you ever need to go back in time, you go to the bulletins up here and you can go back and find the bulletin that you're in. If you started at the institution this year, you were in the 23-24 bulletin, and that bulletin will last with you until you finish your degree, okay? Your bulletin lasts for 6 years. It is active for 6 years. So if it takes you 5 years to graduate, your bulletin is still active. If you step out for a while and come back, say 3 or 4 years later, your bulletin will be expired, okay? What does that mean for you? Does that mean you can't get a degree? No, it doesn't mean you can't get a degree. It just means that the contract, and I'm putting that in air quotes because it's not really a contract, has expired, and now we have to create a new contract with you, if you will. So in chemistry, the good news is that the chemistry curriculum doesn't change a whole lot over time. Hasn't. So chances are if you had to come back, it would be the same curriculum and you could pick up and finish off without too much trouble. But some curricula do change quite frequently. And so when a bulletin expires, you then have to go into the next bulletin, or you have to request a bulletin extension. And I'm the person at the institution that approves bulletin extensions. And I never approve bulletin extensions for students that need huge amounts of coursework left to graduate. I always say, well, they just need to be in the new bulletin. I approve bulletin extensions for situations like a student was at the university, completed everything but a course or two, life happened, they had to go take care of family or whatever, they were out for a few years, they come back. If they just finish those couple of classes, they can graduate and move on. I'll extend the bulletin for a semester for that to happen, okay? But the reason that it's important is because courses change, some courses go away, new courses come into play, and so you've got to keep all that in mind. But you're going to go to the 23-24 undergraduate bulletin. You're going to click on that. You're going to see this long list of stuff on the side, which is going to have all kinds of good information, okay? You're going to learn about our university mission and our accreditation. You're probably not going to be too interested about that. As far as you're concerned, the mission of this institution is to give you an education, right? And we're going to do that. You're going to talk, you've got areas that talk about services and general information, your expenses, admissions policies, which don't apply to you anymore because you've been admitted. There's your student rights and responsibilities. If you've never looked at that, you ought to kind of look. Not only do you have rights, but you have responsibilities. You're going to see something about the general education curriculum, and then you're going to start to see things about the College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Business and Economic Development, okay? And you'll notice that it has the College of Arts and Sciences and then the College of Arts and Sciences schools and majors. It's going to be this tab you want to go to. And when you're there, you're going to get all of the things that we have. What school are we in? Mathematics and Natural Sciences. That's right. So you're going to go down to the School of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, and you're going to go to Information. And you're going to see what we offer at this institution, right? You're going to see that we offer an ACS certified chemistry degree, biochemistry, we do chemical education, mathematics, so on and so forth, right? You can also see the minors that we give. By the way, you cannot get a minor and a major in the same thing. Just keep that in mind. I have some students sometimes that come to me and say, Well, I completed all the work for a minor in chemistry. Yeah, but you're a chemistry major. You can't minor and major in the same thing. Okay? So just keep that in mind. So when you click on one of these, it is going to take you to some information about the program. You should be familiar with this. One of the nice things about our chemistry program is it is certified by the Committee on Professional Training of the American Chemical Society. It's kind of a stamp of the American Chemical Society that tells your future employers they're good to be a chemist. They've had all of the basic things that they need to know to do the job, okay? And you're going to see a couple of things here, okay? So you're going to have this degree requirements and you're going to have this semester guide. And now you're asking me, why am I building a semester guide if there's already one available? And we'll talk about that in just a moment, okay? So you're going to go to the ACS Certified Chemistry degree or the Biochemistry, whichever one is yours. I'm just doing this. And you're going to get a long list of requirements, okay? You're going to have at least 120 hours of credit by the time you graduate from the University of Southern Mississippi in a chemistry program, okay? And you'll see General Ed 1, written communication. You got to have English 101 and English 102. Some of you may have exam credit for that and got credited out, if you will, and that's okay. You're going to have 8 to 10 hours of natural science in GECO2. The good news is for you all, notice Chemistry 106 will count for that. And also notice the physics courses, either Physics 111 or 201, 202, 112. Those are going to count. Your degree plan that you have here takes care of that for you. Okay, so you'll have that completed. You're going to have English World Literature. You're going to take 2 courses. One of them has to be a history. You're going to take either a History 101 or 102. And then you're going to select one of these courses, Humanities, Philosophy, or Religion. You can pick any of those in this major. Which one of these courses do you think that I would recommend for you other than the histories? Ethics and Good Living would be an excellent one to take. Okay? It will match well with the things that you have to do as a professional. The other one that I would just as equally recommend would be Philosophy 151. Okay? I took a philosophy class when I was in college, in your shoes, so to speak. It was one of the most eye-opening courses I ever took. Why would philosophy be so important?
We're kind of saying at the beginning of the class, it teaches you how to think.
It does teach you how to think. It's a very much so critical thinking type of course. What else?
It teaches you how to question everything.
Teaches you how to question, which is certainly compatible with the scientific method, right? In fact, the scientific method is derived from philosophy. But philosophy is the discipline that historically, and it goes back, and it's an ancient discipline, right? It is the foundation of all knowledge. It is how we know things. It did lead to the scientific method, okay? So a study in philosophy, in my opinion, is good co-training for anybody in a STEM area. I think it is very important. Now, having said that, if you're also interested in the religions of the world and you want to take Religion 131, it's a great class. I know people who teach it. I know people that love that. It's perfectly fine. I'm just telling you my recommendation. Okay, I'm giving you my 2 cents worth. You can take it or you can leave it. But I think that the philosophy courses match very, very well with the curriculum that you're going to be learning in chemistry and biochemistry. Aesthetic values, GECO4, you're going to take one of those classes. You're going to take art appreciation, dance appreciation, enjoyment of music, or theatrical expressions. Let's just do a quick show of hands. How many people think they might take Art 130?
I already took it.
You already took it? Okay, so that'll be a hand. We'll count that. Okay. How many of you think you might take dance appreciation? You're taking it now? Okay, good. How about the enjoyment of music?
I'm taking it.
Taking it? Yeah. A lot of people take the enjoyment of music, right? I mean, just about everybody likes music of some sort. How about theatrical expressions? Okay, good number of you are thinking about taking theatrical expressions. Okay, good. I took the equivalent of enjoyment of music when I was in your shoes many years ago, and I will say up until that point, I did not have an appreciation for classical music or some other musics of the world. I now enjoy those things. Okay, so these are things that can change your outlook as well. I also had to take another one. We had to have two of these types of courses where I went to college at the time, and I took film lecture, and I got to see a lot of the early films that were instrumental in the development of what we call today the film industries, which is kind of nice. You're going to have a couple of courses in social and behavioral sciences. This is going to be very, very important for those of you who are thinking about going on to medical school. Medical school is going to limit which ones of these you take. You need to talk to your advisor, okay? Because it's been a while since I've advised pre-med students. Things might have changed. But if you're going to med school, you're going to need to take General Psych 110, and you're going to need to take Sociology 101. That's what they're going to want to see when you go to medical school. So think about that. Now, the other things, they are perfectly great classes. If you're not thinking about going to medical school, choose any two of those that you want. I think the economics is the one that I would recommend to the folks because I think it's a little more sciencey than some of the others. But again, you can take any of them. Concepts of Wellness is also a good course to take. But again, if you're even thinking about medical school as an option, I would highly recommend the General Psychology and the Understanding Society, Sociology 101. You're going to have some math. You're going to have more than enough math in this major, right? You're going to be taken care of. But for most people, it's taking Math 100 or Math 101. Here in chemistry, you're going to have to take up through, if you're Biochem, Cal 2, if you're a chemistry, Cal 3. So you're going to have plenty of math to satisfy this requirement. You're going to take GEC 07, which is a chemistry class, Chemistry 461, which is physical chemistry. This is the writing intensive requirement. Notice that English 101 and 102 are prerequisites to that. You're going to do a lot of writing when you get into Chemistry 461. Okay. You're also going to do a speaking intensive requirement. It's very important that you learn how to speak in public a little bit. When you go out and get your job, you're going to have to give an elevator speech. I know some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, I don't like doing that. I was in your shoes. I used to stand up in front of people and freeze. But you know how you get over that? You get over that by doing it. And this is going to be your start to that, okay? And so you can take any one of these courses. You can also take any other speaking intensive identified course, which there's tons of them on campus. But these are the ones that we recommend if you're not double majoring that might require a different speaking intensive course. And I typically tell students CMS 111 is a great one to take. So that would be my recommendation. But of course you could pick any of them. That's perfectly fine. And then your capstone requirement, GEC 09, that is Chemistry 496 research. And you have to have 3 total hours of that to count as your capstone. Okay? Why do you think we pick research to be your capstone? What does it mean to be a capstone?
It's like an accumulation of everything you're supposed to have learned over your degree.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So if you think literally about a capstone, it's the thing on the top, right? You're building a little pyramid. The capstone is the one that on the top, right? And so, but it's kind of your finishing thing. So you're going to walk into your capstone research. I still take students for capstone research. I've got a couple of them this semester. And they are given a project to work on for a semester, at least a semester. Some work on it for 2 semesters. And you've got to use your general chemistry, your organic chemistry, your analytical chemistry, your physical chemistry. You've got to synthesize all that together to solve whatever research question that we have with the students. Okay? And so a lot of students get involved in research even earlier. We do have a course called Chemistry 392. So if you're at a point where, let's say, I don't know, it's a semester and everything just works out to where you've only got 12 hours and you need 15, go talk to a faculty member and see if they'll take you on to do some Chemistry 392 research for a few hours. Okay? They can bring you into the lab and get you started on your research project even earlier. And 392 can count as your elective credits. So that works out pretty well. All right, you also have DEG 01. These are hours that you're going to need, or courses that you're going to need to complete the degree. We're not going to go through each and every one of these courses today. Okay? But obviously you're going to need general chemistry. You're in this one right now. Okay? Chemistry 255, organic 256, organic 2. You're going to have another kind of Chemistry 108 course when you get to be a junior called Chemistry Junior Seminar. You're going to be taking that course whenever you hit the junior year. Analytical chemistry, inorganic chemistry. You're going to take a course on chemical literature. You're going to learn how to get into the primary literature that chemists use and use that information. You're going to take a course on safety. Very, very important, right? We do some things that can be quite hazardous. You're going to learn how to work with instruments. You're going to do 2 semesters of PChem, and you're going to do chemistry research. Those are going to be your chemistry classes, okay? Then you're going to select from one of these, okay? You can take 420 or 421. You've got to, if you're a chemistry major, you've got to have at least 1 biochemistry. If you're biochemistry students, you've got to have 3 biochemistries. That's the difference, a big difference. We say, let me put it this way, the program says chemistry 421 is strongly recommended for pre-medical students. I say balderdash on that, but that's just my personal opinion. 420 prepares you just as well for medical school as it does anything else. If you're a pre-med student, chances are you're in the biochemistry track anyway, and you're going to be taking 421. But you can be an ACS certified chemistry major and go to medical school. Okay, I don't want you to think that you have to be a biochemistry major for that to happen. It just happens that the biochemistry major also includes all the biologies that you need for medical school, and so it lines up perfectly for your transition into medical school, okay? But maybe you don't want to study biochemistry. Maybe you want to study chemistry, and that's fine too. Then you're going to select one of these courses. One of these courses has to be on your personalized semester guide. Notice these are all 400 level courses, meaning they're going to be more towards your senior year. You're not going to be taking them this year, right? But you can choose any one of these courses to count in that elective area. Then you're going to have DEG 02. DEG 01 is all about the chemistry courses. DEG 02 is about all the other courses in the science and math that you need that are not part of the chemistry program per se, okay? And so you're going to have Math 167. You're going to have Math 168, okay? So you're going to have, I guess we did change that. I guess you'll have to have 2 calculuses now. So you got to have Cal 1 and Cal 2. You're going to have a sequence of physics classes. Notice it's taking Physics 111 or 201, and then you've got to take Physics 112 or 202. But here's the caveat. You can't do 111 and 202. So keep that in mind. It's going to be a 111, 112, or 201, 202. What are the difference between these 2 classes? Well, the first thing is 201 and 202 have an extra hour in them. But 201 and 202 require the calculus. 111 and 112 are trig-based. Okay? Why would you want to take a course that is calculus-based over trig-based? If you're thinking about going on to graduate school, I highly recommend you take the 201, 202 sequence. Okay? You need that level of physics, especially if you're thinking about doing something that is perhaps chemical engineering or chemical engineering related. Okay, the physics with the calculus I think will serve you better. Otherwise, Physics 111, Physics 112 is a perfectly good course to get you through your major. Then you're going to have DEG 03. This is where you're going to take it. You can pick additional courses here to get to your 120 hours. Okay, the chemistry degree, ACS certified chemistry degree, has more room for electives than the biochemistry degree. If you're in the biochemistry program, your 120 hours are pretty much so filled up. You'll have some choices, but fewer choices than if you're a chemistry major. So if you're thinking about double majoring or adding a minor that's outside of biology, like maybe you want a minor in business, maybe you want a minor in theater or whatever, the chemistry program gives you more room to do that as opposed to the biochemistry program, okay? So now you can do it in biochemistry, you're just gonna have semesters that might be 18 hours long. But that's your choice, okay? Any questions about any of this? What is missing here? There's no courses missing, but something's missing. What's missing?
This class.
Well, we talked about that earlier. It's there. It's up there. It's up there in DEG 01. Right there. It's there. What's missing? English is in GEC up at the top. What is missing is none of this tells you when you have to take things. The when is not there. Notice when you click on these, you'll get a description. Notice you've got to take Chemistry 107 before you can get into 255. Okay? So it gives you a description of everything. It tells you what your prerequisites are. Okay? But also notice it doesn't tell you what semester you're going to be taking this in. Right? That's what a semester by semester guide is. And so let's look at that. This is going to help you if you look at the semester guide. This is kind of a recommended thing, right? If you're freshman, your first semester, we kind of recommend these 14 hours, okay? Select something here, blah, 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 okay? You can go through that and kind of see. So you should be asking yourself, why is he having us build this personalized semester by semester guide if we have this? We do that because not all of you can fit this in, okay? How many people in here work a job? A good number of you. Okay. You probably aren't taking 14, 15, 16 hours. So you're probably not going to be able to take all those courses your first semester. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to build out what your semester by semester guide is going to look for to get to where you need to graduate. Okay? So this is an idealized. Some of you won't be able to start in Calculus 167, and that's okay. But we're assuming you're starting in Calculus 1. Doesn't happen for every student, okay? And that's okay. That's why we need to build out a personalized semester by semester guide. All right. So that's the bulletin. Make sure you're familiar with the bulletin. You're going to need to be familiar with that. I have also put in some maps. So let me pull up the biochemistry map because it's the first one in the list. Ooh, that's tiny. How do I make it bigger? Let's see.
This is zoomed up.
Ah, very good. Thank you. And I guess that's as big as it zooms. All right. So you're not going to be able to see a lot of detail here. You'll have to download it and look at it. But what you see is a course with a line that goes to another course. What do those lines tell you? That tells you all of your prerequisites. What can you tell me by looking at this degree plan? Just all the lines.
Wow.
There's a lot of prerequisites to chemistry. You have to know a basic amount of information before you go to the next class. You're going to need to know some general chemistry before you go to organic chemistry. You're going to need to know some organic chemistry before you go to biochemistry. Okay? These things show you all that. So let's suppose you get started here, and then you go, well, I'm going to skip this semester. I'm not going to take that class. What does that do to the entire rest of your career here? It pushes it, because you just didn't miss that class. You missed the opportunity to take that class and that class in the next subsequent semesters. That's why it's very, very important for each and every one of you to build a personalized semester by semester guide that takes into account your very unique situation. Each and every one of you are unique. You have unique family obligations, you have unique work obligations, you have unique personal obligations, you have unique high school situations. Some of you are very comfortable in that. Some of you even though you could have gotten into Calculus 1 and have said, well, I want to go back and review my trig before you get into Cal 1. It's been a while. That's going to start your starting points at a little different thing, right? And some of you are not going to be able to do 15 or 16 hours a semester, so that's going to change everything. This is not a semester by semester guide. It just shows you how the courses are connected. When you build your semester by semester guide, it has to mirror this in terms of the connections. You can't put biochemistry next semester if you haven't had organic yet. You can't just say, oh, I want to take biochem here, right? You got to keep that all in mind. So I've got both of those maps in there. So now let's look at the assignment in the last 15 minutes that we've got. Okay, like I said, there's a lot of rules to this. We're going to discuss those. All right. When you go into the assignment, it tells you you're going to build a personalized semester by semester guide to complete your degree in chemistry and biochemistry. It's more than simply a listing of classes that you'll need to take. It is the development of an actual plan to be successful. When you go and talk to your advisor, they will say, next semester, these are the courses you need to take. And you need to have a conversation with them about your situation. That's why we're building this out. Okay? Your advisors have great advice, but they don't always know everything about you. This is going to help you develop your talking points when you go talk to your advisor for the first time in October. Now, I know you all have talked to an advisor before, but this is the first time for many of you that you went and talked to an advisor after you've been admitted to the university. And the conversations are different between when you got admitted and after you've been admitted, okay? So, you're going to download the template here. Okay? You're only going to work within the template. It is a Word document, okay? You are going to, I've given you a link to the bulletin, okay? Here are the rules. Each piece of this has to be on its own page. You can't go over to the second page. So it's going to be one semester, one page. Next semester, different page. Okay? Keep that in mind. Can't go over to the next page. All the information is required. Everything that I have prompted is required. Now, if it doesn't apply to you, you don't leave it blank, you write NA. Not applicable. That way I know it's not applicable to you, not that you missed filling it in, okay? So some of you may not have taken the ACT. On there I ask you for some ACT scores. If you did not take the ACT, you write NA, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Pay careful attention to all prerequisite information. This is where people get tripped up in this assignment because I want you to have a thorough understanding of the prerequisites for this curriculum because that trips students up every time. Not in terms of this assignment, yes it does do that, but in terms of getting done in the time that you want to get done. If a student forgets a course that's a prerequisite, you've messed up your subsequent semesters. Your grade on this assignment will depend on attention to detail. And you must account for all hours in your degree, including your honors program, if you're in honors, and any minors or double majors you may wish to pursue. So if you're going to be a chemistry, art double major, each semester you have to show me the chemistry courses and the art courses that you're doing. Okay, you're going to have to account for both majors. Why is that important? Because when you go and talk to your advisor, that's an important thing for them to know. Right? Oh, you're taking art. Well, art only offers this section of that course at this time, but chemistry offers 5 different sections of this lab. So we're going to pick this one first, and then we're going to work around that to build your schedule. Okay? So keep that in mind. This is worth 100 points. This is a big assignment in terms of overall points for the class. So do it well. When you click on this, you're going to get the template. You're going to download the template. Okay? Your first page is going to be general information. Don't mess with all of this. Notice I filled this out as if I was doing it. You're going to delete everything that I've put in there in terms of my information. Okay? You're going to put your name. You're going to put which degree plan you're doing. If it's biochemistry, it's going to be chemistry, parentheses, biochemistry BS. You're going to mention whether or not you're in the honors college. Yes or no? Just answer that. Do you have a minor? You can put NA there, or if you're not doing a minor. Yes, ma'am.
You have two advisors, do you want both?
Uh,
Because I have an honors and a regular.
I just want your regular advisor. Yeah, that's what. Good. So who's your advisor? Right? You're going to write that in there. You're going to find out who that is. You're going to list your ACT math score. If you didn't take the ACT, you're going to list NA there. Did you have any high school AP credits? Many of you did. Yes or no? Did you have any dual enrollment credits? Yes or no? Are you a member of a fraternity or sorority? Yes or no? This is important information for you to share with your advisor as you build your schedule. If you're involved in a fraternity or sorority, you've got obligations that are going to impact what kind of schedule you can build, okay? But your advisor needs to know that. The worst thing for an advisor is you work out a schedule, you leave, and then you come back and go, oh, well, this isn't compatible with, now we got to redo it all, right? Let the advisor know. You're going to then skip down and it's going to say list your high school AP credits below. If you'd had none, list none. If you had some, list what the courses were. You're going to list any dual enrollment credits that you might have had. You're going to list the institution. So if you took General Chemistry 1 at William Carey, that's what you're going to tell you. You're going to say, I took chemistry, whatever their number was, Gen Chem 1, William Carey. Yeah.
Transferred with a degree already.
If you transferred in with a degree already, those are not going to be either one of these. Yeah. Then, yes.
Sorry, for the ACT math score, what of the SAT?
You could list the SAT there if it's, just put the score and then parentheses SAT.
Okay.
Okay? Just most students take the ACT here in the South. And so that's why I listed that one. You're then going to write a paragraph about your career plans and the relation of those plans to chemistry and biochemistry. And I just give you an example. Okay? But you're going to delete my example and you're going to write what you want. Notice it does not go past the first page. You have from here to here to write that. Okay? This is a conversation with yourself, but it is also going to be your opening conversation with your advisor. I plan to be a practicing chemist because. I plan to go to medical school because. Okay? You're only going to have one of these pages. Your first page is going to be your general information. You're then going to go into a fall semester. Fall semester of, well, that said 2022. You're going to put 2023 up there. You're going to change the year. Okay? That's the current semester, and you're going to list the courses that you're taking this semester, right now. Chemistry 108 is going to be in there, right? Notice this. This is very important. You're in Math 101, that's college algebra, it's worth 3 credits. It is a prerequisite to Math 103. This course is a prerequisite to that course. You're going to start building your map here. Okay? You don't go, oh, well, this isn't prerequisite to this. It's this course is a prerequisite to that. Does everybody understand that? Okay. General Chemistry 1, 3 hours. It is a prerequisite to Chemistry 107. Chemistry 106L, General Chem 1 lab. It is a prerequisite to Chemistry 107. Chemistry 108, Foundations, 1 credit hour. It's not a prerequisite to anything, just leave it blank. English 101, Composition 1, is a prerequisite to English 102. What did I mess up here when I did this? What else is it a prerequisite to? P-Chem. And you don't think about that. English being a prereq to P-Chem, but it's because it's the writing intensive course.
I have a question. What if we already did some of our classes during the chunk scholars?
That's okay. You can list them here in your first semester. We'll count that as your first semester. You can do that. And then, I don't know, you took kinesiology 102, fitness walking 1, whatever. It's not a prerequisite, you still like it. You're going to add up your credit hours, you're going to give you the total credit hours. Then you're going to write a paragraph on why these courses. Look at my example. Why is it that you're taking those courses this semester? You're going to write a brief paragraph about that. Okay? You're also going to talk about time management this semester. Okay? Notice I said here I have a part-time job off campus 10 hours each week, and I am involved in a fraternity. I made all this crap up, but, you know, this is the kind of thing I want you thinking about. Well, if I'm working 10 hours a week, I'm involved in a fraternity, and I'm taking 15 hours, what do you think my time management's going to be like? Mild or pretty intense? Pretty intense, right? I want you to start thinking about how you're going to have to manage your time in the future. Because the commitments you make for yourself right now impact the future. Okay? That's the whole point of this. And when you sit down with your advisor and you start talking about this first semester, or the next semester, as the case may be, you'll have this information that you can share with your advisor. It'll be a good prompt for you. Yes?
Because this is my second year, so should I like put the courses I took last fall and last spring?
Yeah, and you'll just change the date.
And do I need to like explain why these courses?
You do. You do. You still need to think about it. It's got to be a complete assignment. Yes, ma'am.
So you want us to list every single, like, you said that Compton was a prereq to this. Should we list like what, like every single thing that is a prereq for? If there's more?
Everything that it is a prereq for in your degree plan. English 101 could be a prereq to 100 different courses, but only things that are important to your degree plan. Okay, good question. You're then going to do one for spring. You know, you got a fall, you got a spring for this year. And then you're going to do a fall and a spring for next year, and you're going to do a fall and a spring for the year after that. You're going to do a fall and a spring for your senior year. Okay? You're going to cut and paste the falls and springs and reuse them. Okay? Just because I have given you one fall and one spring does not mean you're done when you've completed one fall and one spring. I had a student turn it in that way one time. I'm like, no, you have to keep using those templates. Okay? So that's going to be the same there. Summer, if you intend to take summer courses, you'll fill out the summer here. Notice I put on there, students who plan to complete courses at another institution must receive written permission to do so. Please discuss this with your advisor before enrolling in any course at another institution. USM is under no obligation to apply credits completed at another institution without prior written permission. It's a very important thing for you to remember. Many of you will not take summer courses, and that's fine. If you are, you'll fill out a summer semester. Okay? That is the assignment. I need you to start working on that now. Next Wednesday, we will have some reading assignments that we'll go over, and then I'm going to spend about 40 minutes in the class. You all are going to be working on this. I continue to work on this. I'm going to be going around asking or answering any questions you have. This assignment will be due sometime at the end of next week, I believe. Yeah, so you need to start working on it now.
What are the maximum credit hours a semester?
You can go up to 18 without permission. You can go beyond that with permission.
Honors, right? I think we can take like 15 to 19 a semester. It's like an hour scholarship.
Okay.
All right, you all have a great rest of your day. Start working on this assignment. And I'll have the reflection for today up later this afternoon.
Where do we put these?
Oh, yes, put your name, ID number, just set them up there at the front. That's your attendance. Have a great day.